la noche. Palabras con imagen. El análisis de los acontecimientos que influyen en nuestra vida con el periodista Francisco Durán Rosillo.
Frank Durán Rosillo te saluda y los saluda a todos ustedes, su amiga María Celeste Arrarás, para invitarlos a que se suscriban a mi canal de YouTube, María Celeste Arrarás, tal como mi nombre, donde les informo todas las semanas sobre entrevistas que tienen un tema que ayuda a mejorarnos como personas y de paso son interesantes. Las pueden encontrar en mi canal de YouTube, así que los espero. Y se suscriben gratis.
Hi there, welcome to this program of Charlas de la Noche, Palabras con Imagen, Nighttime Conversation, Words with Image. The reason why today I am deciding to rebroadcast the previous program is being done in Spanish, but I like to do in English, is to bring under your attention a very important issue that is happening right now in Mexico, in Monterrey, Mexico. Antony Blinken, Secretary of State, visited the officials of the Mexican government, Marcelo Ebrard, Mexican Secretary of State, and the Mexican President, Andrés Manuel López Obrador. Honestly, I am infuriated. So I apologize if I make mistakes in my pronunciation. English is my third language, but I will try to do the best I can. Both governments, or both presidents, Biden and López Obrador, are already on political campaigns. Both of them declare that they are doing their political campaigns to get the re-election in 2024. Why? Because, believe it or not, both governments have poor results. Both governments have been done nothing in many issues. And they are weaponizing the issue that they elevate the ceiling of the debt, making more money, printing more money in the Federal Reserve to do programs to benefit poor Americans. But that is not the solution. Let me tell you why. Mexico, weeks ago, Mexico had the worst terrorist attacks in many cities of the central Mexico, done by Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generación. Is the largest cartel besides Sinaloa that sent tons of fentanyls and opioids to poison young Americans every day. DEA recognized Ann Milgram. I broadcast her speech several weeks ago. In the ones she says they are fighting, but they recognize that this war against fentanyls, Mexico received from China and transport to the United States by these criminals, by these terrorists, are sinking United States everywhere. Atlanta is one of the main distribution centers. Robert Ransom, official of the DEA here in Atlanta, recognized in an interview with WSB TV that in Atlanta operates 5 of the most important Mexican drug cartels. And he recognized that they are associated with the Russian mob and other criminal groups that help them to distribute all these drugs nationwide and internationally. They confiscate thousands of dollars, guns, they stop people, but they are not the kingmakers. And the reason why I am mad is because, as you are going to see on the images, Anthony Blinken had a closed door meeting with the Mexican authorities and came out to the press telling that recognize the big effort done by the Mexican government to stop drug cartels, to confiscate fentanyls, when the Mexican president eat breakfast with the mother of El Chapo Guzman, the most wanted criminal that is detained in a federal prison in Colorado. Andrés Manuel López Obrador ordered free Ovidio Guzman, the son of El Chapo Guzman, free, and let him keep working, keep him producing and transporting drugs and kidnapping people and killing people nationwide and beyond the Mexico-US border, because they also control, with their extortion, the migrants groups. And you know, they force immigrants to take a backpack, very heavy backpack, full of drugs, fentanyls, opioids, marijuana, etc., and cross the border to United States. And Blinken says that Mexico is doing a huge and wonderful effort to help America to stop the drugs trafficking. I am perplexed. I am completely frustrated, infuriated. I don't know what adjective use, but the point is I don't buy that speech from Mr. Anthony Blinken. I am Mexican American, but as I told to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution in one interview, the reporter asked me what I will do if Mexico and US break relationship. My answer was, I will see this as a divorce. Not because parents divorce, kids are going to stop to love. Mexico is my mother because they saw me born, and United States is my father, makes me strong. But I have Native American roots. I have Native American blood. You can see my red skin and hair is the mixture of Native Americans and Spanish blood. Long story, you can see my book online. But what I really like to tell you tonight is that Mexico used to be the best country, the best ally of the United States on the war on terror, on the war on drugs, and the government of Andrés Manuel López Obrador is not doing that. We have 60 million Mexican Americans, beside 11 million of migrants, Mexican migrants, that are working and they don't have a legal situation. But we have several Mexican Americans as me, Ken Salazar, Ambassador of the United States in Mexico, Alejandro Mayorkas, Director of Homeland Security, the Secretary of Education, and the list is huge on the federal government of the United States. And we don't buy that story. Anthony Blinken is lying to the American society with that story, with that declaration today, telling that Mexican government is helping to stop drug traffickers, there is not cooperation. Mexican government and United States of America used to have a page online in the one they exchange information, intelligence, pictures, data, maps, everything to capture as soon as possible criminals in both sides of the border. They don't have it anymore. They are lying. Mexico, in the 4 years of Andrés Manuel López Obrador, has record of less drug confiscated, and less criminals putting in jail. Andrés Manuel López Obrador received money from the drug cartels for his reelection, for his plans. Besides, he is taking all the money from the Mexican trust created to help poor people, to help people in case of disasters, to help social programs, to help a huge, large public projects that haven't exist anymore. COVID in Mexico was the country where the government don't help people. Here in America, believe it or not, or like it or not, President Trump sent checks to taxpayers to survive the pandemic and many things. And both presidents, Trump and Biden, are enhancing very well the COVID test and the program to shot for COVID. In Mexico, the only shots that Mexican government is distributing are those ones that United States of America is sending free. In fact, you can see on CBS a story of Manny Bojorges weeks ago in the one Mexican population crossed in buses to Laredo, Texas, to put the vaccines to kids and people of their age to protect them against COVID. Why? Because Mexico is short on vaccines. But mysteriously, the government of López Obrador with Marcelo Ebrard sent millions and millions of dollars to China and Russia to buy vaccines that Mexicans never received, Mexicans never saw. Why? Because that money was to protect an underground agreement between Mexico, China, and Russia to do a big deal. I announced on this program, in Nicaragua, Russian government has a station of intelligence, and they have militaries who are training spies, are training mercenaries, are training people expert in terrorism. And they are infiltrating them via Mexico, via the border, into the United States. Everything in a mutual agreement between Vladimir Putin of Russia, Daniel Ortega from Nicaragua, and Andrés Manuel López Obrador of Mexico. And they have all the official protection to come and kill Americans, poison Americans, not only with drugs, also with terrorist attacks. And nobody moves a finger. And Joe Biden is allowing those criminals to come in. That's the reason why Texas Governor Greg Abbott is taking in buses all the undocumented people Alejandro Mayorkas released from the immigration jails and putting in buses to Washington because he he doesn't have the authority to deport them to Mexico and say, hey, Washington, what you are doing? And they are releasing undocumented people. I have nothing against undocumented. Between them, there are good people who come to work, but they don't make a criminal record of everyone with picture, fingerprints, check background, etc., etc. They are doing nothing. They found in Texas, the Texas National Guard found 3 terrorists from Iran that were already in American soil, ready to kill former President George W. Bush. And they were on those caravans that cross almost every week the border, Mexico-USA. If you've seen, last summer we have a crisis like never before in Del Rio, Texas, where a concentration was huge of migrants. That never happens before. There is a kingmaker behind that, and it's Andrés Manuel López Obrador. They use official buses to move that people from the Central America border in Chiapas and move fast to the USA border. Why? Because there is a political interest behind that, and that association of the Foro of Sao Paulo, Lula da Silva, Daniel Ortega, Cristina Kirchner, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, Evo Morales, many leftists, they are with a plan to destroy America. Vladimir Putin fails in Ukraine, and his retaliation is use that corrupt Mexican authorities that Anthony Blinken is kissing their ass today. I can't believe it. I really don't buy that. I was thinking that Anthony Blinken was smart enough to deal with it, but according to the press reports I see, he came out very happy of the briefing with the Mexican government. Why? Because they are doing a lot. They confiscate thousands of drugs. They stop all the migrants on the border. I don't see proof of everything. I don't see evidence, and I read daily Mexican and American press, and I visit daily the official websites of Fiscalía General de la República, this is the national prosecutor, of the Mexican Army, Sedena, of the Mexican Navy, Secretaría de Marina, Guardia Nacional, National Guard. Nothing they are doing. They are using the budget to send resources to Cuba, to Miguel Díaz-Canel, to Daniel Ortega in Nicaragua, to send many millions of dollars of the Mexican government and of the American programs sent to Mexico. They detour the money and resources. I discovered that the Mérida Agreement, el Acuerdo Mérida, now called with other name, was signed, and that agreement was in the one United States of America give resources to the Mexican government to attack drug cartels. Guess what? That bulletproof vest, that guns, and many of those strategic equipments are in Cuba, but not to attack drug cartels, to attack the freedom of the Cubans, to retaliate against Cubans who are looking for democracy and better life. As you know, Cuba, under 60 years of dictatorship of Fidel Castro and his brother, they don't have any benefit. They make up elections to transfer the power to Miguel Díaz-Canel, who is a muppet of the Castro brothers. Don't believe what Anthony Blinken is telling to Americans, because it's a lie. Honestly, if I feel some respect today for President Biden and Anthony Blinken, today I change my mind, because they are lying to the American society, becoming partners in crime with Andrés Manuel López Obrador, with the other man that was mayor of Mexico City and steal all the money of the Mexican subway project, Marcelo Ebrard, and he has to escape to France to hide from the authorities. And when Andrés Manuel López Obrador becomes president, he called him. Why? Because he knows what's the best way to empty the treasure of the nation, to empty social programs and take for them. And these two characters, Andrés Manuel López Obrador and Marcelo Ebrard, and the Secretary of the Mexican Army, Luis Crescencio Sandoval, are muppets of Vladimir Putin and the Chinese president. All the largest projects are doing in Mexico, destroying the ecology, are projects dedicated and ordered with military strategy, dedicated to Russia and China, because they like to make a new. Remember in the 1960s, the crisis of the missiles in Cuba? Well, now Russians and Chinese like to make a station to deploy military people in Sonora. It's a Mexican border state with USA, and they like to make a factory of Russian weapons, and they like to put a station to launch missiles directed to the most important cities of the United States. And everything is enhanced and protected by the government of Marcelo Ebrard and Andrés Manuel López Obrador and Luis Crescencio Sandoval. They sold Mexico to China and Russia. Americans don't trust on these people. And if Anthony Blinken and Joe Biden are giving their ass, already take the underwears down to deal with these people, boycott them. Don't vote for them, please. Thank you. Have a good night.
Frank Durán Rosillo te saluda y los saluda a todos ustedes, su amiga María Celeste Arrarás, para invitarlos a que se suscriban a mi canal de YouTube, María Celeste Arrarás, tal como mi nombre, donde les informo todas las semanas sobre entrevistas que tienen un tema que ayuda a mejorarnos como personas y de paso son interesantes. Las pueden encontrar en mi canal de YouTube, así que los espero. Y se suscriben gratis.
Escuchaste el análisis de la noticia, transparente como el agua, con el periodista Francisco Durán Rosillo.